Another dark cloud looms over tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has frowned at the delay in the release of approved 15 billion naira revitalization fund, non-payment of salaries to its members in some state-owned institutions, and non-commencement of negotiation of the 2010 agreement. Hence, the union called on the federal and some state governments to pay outstanding arrears of the minimum wage of its members as contained in the Memorandum of Understanding. Now, Chiawola Moke, this is, from the introduction, it's another strike looming in the nation's polytechnics. And this is all due to the alleged failure of government to release funds agreed with the polytechnics about 7 months ago. As in, what do you make of this? Because it's becoming like a recurring decimal.
Look, this is another variant of the ASU saga. Now, coming to the level of polytechnics we have in Nigeria. If you look at how this thing is playing out, you wonder the kind of value Nigeria places on education. That's the first thing that strikes you. What value do we have for education in Nigeria? There are only 27 federal polytechnics we have in Nigeria. And they are demanding for 15 billion as funds to, rejig their infrastructure. That's what the issue is basically all about. 15 billion. And what is 15 billion that the federal government cannot provide if it is actually serious with the issue of, polytechnic education? When we are talking about polytechnic, we are dealing with the issue of middle-level manpower, which every nation, requires, if you are thinking of, industrialization. Nigeria has not been able to fulfill its obligation to ASU. It cannot fulfill its obligation to polytechnics. It cannot fulfill its obligation to College of Education. In spite of all this, federal government is going ahead almost on a yearly basis, creating additional institutions, creating universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education you cannot fund. Even our lawmakers are not helping matters. They've reduced the creation or establishment of institutions of higher learning as part of their constituency project. Institutions of higher learning are no longer centers for learning research. They have become constituency projects. You have a situation whereby states in Nigeria that cannot, meet up their catchment areas in some of the institutions that surround them. They can't meet up the quota. You see them having three or four universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. We have in this country where states pupils cannot, get up to three scores over 200 to get into unity colleges. Yet you have federal institutions in all these places. You have states in Nigeria where you can count the number of pupils that make 5 credits in school certificate as to qualify to enter universities. But you have universities, federal, state, in those areas. Could you believe the fact that there is a state in Nigeria that has 4 universities, state universities, 2 federal technology universities of technology. That's a Delta State. Delta State has 4 state-owned universities. It has Federal University of Petroleum at Efuru, and it has another maritime technology. University, in the same Delta. Right now, as we speak, there is a bill sponsored by the minority leader of House of Representatives from that area for another Federal University of Technology to be sited in the state capital, which is Asaba. In 2018, when 9 new universities and colleges of technology were about to be established, a public hearing was organized, and Professor Oguyemi, the former ASU president, attended that public hearing at the National Assembly. He said that his heart bled that this parliament was about to create 9 of such institutions when they cannot fund anyone. And one of the lawmakers who was hell-bent on attracting one of those institutions to his constituency, he was asked where would the fund come from? Because in the making of a bill, I've covered the parliament for 9 years. That's the National Assembly. Before a bill is being made, you must have to attach the financial imperative, what it will require for that law to be implemented. When the lawmaker was asked, he said, let us establish them first. The fund will come later. Have you not seen what is happening with the present bid in the Senate for 6 centers of the Nigerian Law School to be added to the existing 6, making it 12? Even when the real stakeholders, the body of benchers and the MBA, are saying no to it. But the senators behind them, who want to attract those centers as trophies, what they will show to have accomplished to their constituencies, are now pushing to get those centers established. When the existing law faculty, law centers we have are not being well funded. If you are going to establish such schools, is it the lawmakers that should have a better say or final say in establishing them, or the real stakeholders, the MBAs and the body of benchers? That is the same thing that happens in the establishment of colleges of education, polytechnics and universities. So it has become an issue for politicking, for all the people in Abuja to attract them to their areas, whether they are useful to the state or not. And that is why you keep on having more of such institutions which the Nigerian state cannot fund. So I will urge ASUP to proceed on this very strike. I will urge even ASUP, because ASUP and all these bodies, they are not helping matters the way they will just initiate one strike, and then government will call them to a round table and then paper the cracks and then sing a kind of lullaby, and all of them will go to sleep and then call it off, only for them to wake up from their slumber, and then about 3 months or more they will initiate another lesson. That is not the way it should go. I remember in this country that Professor Wole Soyinka said that maybe it would be better for us to close the institutions, even if it is 2 years, and think properly of how we are going to fund education in Nigeria. I think that we've got to that point. Last year we closed schools in Nigeria. We lost one academic year because of COVID-19. Heavens did not fall. Heavens did not fall. And then we keep on having these things and making mockery of our institutions. Go abroad and see how institutions are funded. Even the money we have in our Federal Reserve is much lower than what Harvard has, Harvard University has in its, in its endowment fund.
Yeah.
Endowment fund. We don't know. We no longer know what it is what it takes to run a university or to establish an institution of higher learning. That's the problem.
All right, let me quickly get your thoughts on this, Tunde. So much, it's an impassionate one from the part of Chiamwola Muke, but let's be honest and let's be fair to ourselves. The students are the ones that will get to bear the brunt. When they say, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers.
The question you asked yourself is, what are the students gaining from the present situation
from the road?
What are the students gaining? Last year, about 2 million sat for JAMB. In all the federal universities and state universities in Nigeria and private universities, they can't take more than 500,000.
Yes.
Then the backlog has been on for the last 5 years. I think the problem with us, like I said the other time, that Nigeria needs help, is that, the scripture says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. Our politicians, our leaders have no vision at all. The only thing they have is mission. And when you have mission, you just want to get to that particular position and begin to manage on. If they have vision, they will know that in the 70s and 80s, we used to have national development plan. That national development plan, you plan it, you focus it, and you make sure you implement it based on what you have for each field of human endeavor: economy, education, agriculture, aviation, every other thing. If that plan is followed closely, then you will know that education, establishment of tertiary institutions should not be politicized, but our politicians have reduced the standard of everything in order to graduate themselves. They have reduced the standard of health. They have reduced the standard of education so that they can practically every local government in Nigeria will have university from the way we are going. And when you get to those universities, they will be glorified secondary schools. Even if they are up to secondary schools, like I said, go to other higher institutions all over the world. You will see what will happen. So the thing is that we have no vision for anything. Our leaders have no vision. If they have vision, including those in the National Assembly who are just sending this bill, like I said, to graduate themselves, they are not looking at the quality. And ironically, the amount of money they are taking home is enough for them to send their children overseas. So deliberately, we are killing education in Nigeria. The more we establish more universities and pretend that we cannot fund, we are killing education. Look at ASUP now. They are just asking for 21 billion. The federal government put pen to paper. And in Nigeria, what we have government doing in Nigeria is that they know how to sign agreement. In Nigeria, governments know how to sign agreement, but they will never honor that agreement. Yeah, ASUP is proposing to go on a strike for something that was signed 9 months ago. They gave them 3 weeks notice. ASUP are doing their own. When these things are, all these things, so if they should go on strike, which means about 2 or 3 million of our children will be at home doing nothing. And an idle hand is a devil's workshop. I wonder whether our leaders even think for the fact that if you don't keep these students busy in our institutions, if you don't keep them busy, you are inviting trouble for yourself. And that's why I'm saying that they have no vision at all. Because when you have a vision, you are looking at 20 or 10 years what you are going to do. But what they have is mission to just be in position and graduate themselves with establishing mushroom higher institutions that cannot serve any purpose. Let
me hold your thoughts for there. Now let's take this call. We have Philip calling all the way from Jalingo. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, gentlemen of the press. Yeah?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to talk about the initial issue, that is the security issue in Taraba, about the Amazonian attack. Hello?
Go ahead, we're listening.
Yes, you see, this is not the first time this thing is happening. Just last month, in October, I think to be on the 21st or 22nd to be precise, there was attack in a neighboring local government in the southern Taraba, that is Kurumi local government, where some of the Cameroonian soldiers, these are Cameroonian soldiers, invaded 2 villages, that is Meriga and Toso village, while intimidating people there. They claimed that they were searching for some of the Amazonian separatists that run into Nigeria. To the extent that people deserted their villages to the local government headquarters. Even the chairman of the local government, Joseph Danladi, confirmed it, in a telephone chat with journalists. But our government refused to take a decisive action. Now the Cameroonian government are using that to do propaganda. Between them and the Amazonian, nobody knows who is saying the truth now. the government should verify it very well, because this is the second time. So
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Philip, for that insight and updates there. So, well, though we've moved on from that discussion.
Both ASU and ASUP, together they are asking for 37 billion, in which the federal government put pen to paper. The Minister for Education, the Minister for Labour, they put pen to paper. And 9 months down the line, like I said, we closed our institution last year because, for 2 reasons, because of COVID and because of the fact that there was no agreement. So students have to stay at home. Then you are now asking yourself, whether we had an NSAS. NSAS will come because students who are supposed to be in classroom, applying their heart to knowledge, they have been rendered jobless, they have been rendered idle. And when they are rendered idle, what you have is revolution that is happening. That's why I'm saying that our leaders are not thinking at all. They don't even know there's a Chinese proverb that says that the best way to be selfish is to be selfless. When you make sure that the students are engaged, they are occupied all the time, they are seeking knowledge every time, they have confidence in future. Because when you don't have knowledge, you have no confidence in yourself. They have confidence in their future. But our leaders, instead of making sure that our institutions are well, they prefer running the system down. They are deliberately running the system down so that they can keep on going to overseas countries. If there's a leader in this country that can make a law that anybody that's a government employee or a public officer should not have words outside Nigeria, you will discover under 5 years Nigerian institution will be the best.
And do you think that is possible?
It is possible. It is a
are we ready to get that done?
It is a question of the willingness. That's what I'm saying. There is no leader at all in Nigeria. It's a question of the willingness of leadership to sacrifice based on the vision they have. If they have a vision, they will work towards that vision. But what they have, I guess, is a mission to just be in office and occupy that office. They are not bloody care what happened. And that's why we have education doing this in Nigeria. You know, now we have over 100 universities. All the states in Nigeria have federal university. They have federal college of education. Besides the old generation university that I have in this country, how can you just be establishing university? The way they are even establishing airports, almost before you know it, all local governments in Nigeria we also have airports. It's lack of vision.
Okay, let's have your thoughts on this.
Yes, you see, apart from the issue of misplaced priority or getting our priorities wrong, a major issue here is government inability to have a template to trace its revenue, its paucity of fund. That's what government will tell you. But then,
they're establishing more. There's no
Nigerians are asking questions.
For yourself.
What are we doing with the money we are making from the petroleum resources that we have in this country? Where is the money going to? Recall that recently ICPC told us that 2 civil servants had 301 houses
in Abuja.
And these people are probably directors whom I could pay their salary when I was working in Punch. I will pay their salaries and still feed myself. These are people having 301 houses. So how do we have a system that government, funds get into private hands?
At the end of the day, they will get slap in the wrist judgment.
Companies, come to Nigeria to establish business, and for 10 good years, they will not pay tax.
Single tax.
They will not pay tax. EFCC, Bawa, when he was, announcing his 100 years in 100 days in office, his performance in 100 days, he made mention of 100 million the agency was able to recover for one agency of government. That is government fund in private hands or companies.
Private force, yeah.
That is how the fund of the government have been in private hands. Why government will going abroad to look for money from China to build our roads, to build all the infrastructure that we have. That is the problem that Nigeria has.
In as much as we have this as a situation in our hands and we need solutions, that is what majority of Nigerians want. What can we do to reverse this seemingly danger in our educational system where it seems to be crumbling to its knees? What would you propose as the best solution to this crisis?
Yeah, I've mentioned what I may call the Wole Soyinka's solution, which maybe you thought it was a joke. Another one is the fact that we need to have an education summit that will involve all the critical stakeholders. We've had once in the past under Jonathan and other government regimes. When they finish, they throw the report out there. We need to have a serious stakeholders, meeting, so that it will take a decision on how tertiary institutions should be funded. A lot of Nigerians believe that government can do everything, but with the kind of government that we have, with the kind of competing demands in terms of infrastructure, that we need, and the leakages in terms of the money that is available to government, it's difficult for anybody to think that government can take all the financial challenges.
All right, let me hold your thoughts for that. We need to take this call, contribution from Gusau Zamfara State. Chinedu, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good day, please. Good day, the anchor and the discussants. Good day.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to speak about this ASUP strike, because I meant to understand they're asking government to place some funds as regards to the revitalization of the access of the Polytechnics. And I want to ask one question. Please help me ask the federal government. This wage, when it was approved, is it not in the budget? How many years has the budget gone through that federal government has paid minimum wage to all the whole institutions in Nigeria, apart from higher institutions, the Polytechnic, the university, and the college of education? What is wrong with government paying minimum wage to all these institutions? Has the Polytechnic, university, and the college of education done anything wrong to collect their minimum wage when other institutions and India has collected their own? What is wrong with? Who is sitting on this money? And why is it difficult for the federal government to pay this minimum wage that has been approved in the budget as of 2 years ago? I want to help me address that to the government. Why is it so?
Right.
If it doesn't like high institutions, it should close the federal institutions, Polytechnic, university, college. Let us go and see that. Then all these things we see, it is a mess. From the budget, what is called a budget, is a mess. Please.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinedu. I think the government is listening and have heard your question, so they will have a right answer to that. But Tunde, okay, let me quickly end up with you now, Chimaloki. Yeah. With what you're saying so far, just quickly wrap up before we move to the next issue.
I was saying that with the kind of government that we have and the resources available, I don't see it as something that is possible for the federal government or government at any level, be it state, to be the sole financier of education. That the other stakeholders, the parents and the students, should be made to contribute in funding education. After all, we have a lot of Nigerians. You have over 50 or 60,000 Nigerians in Ghana who are going there for higher education. They pay for it. In South Africa, even in Togo, here, they do so. And more universities should not be established, because the more you establish this, you increase the
funding,
the financial crisis, of these universities.
Right. So Tunde, final thoughts on this issue in terms of what we can do to reverse this trend.
What we can do is, as we have in other sectors, we must put a stop to deliberate politicization of everything in Nigeria. We have politicized everything. If we have not politicized it, senators and House of Rep people will not be begging for universities in almost every local government in Nigeria. So we are, and the federal government too, and the Senate too, they are dancing along with it. Yes, let us establish if that is the concern. So the question you ask yourself is that of what benefit has been those new universities to their immediate environment? What have they contributed to knowledge and learning? What are they contributed to research? In what way have they benefited or improved the condition of living? Because that is the essence of a center of learning. So we have politicized almost everything in Nigeria. That's why I said the fundamental problem running with us is that our leaders are not visionary. They just have a vision to be in government. They don't know what they want to do in 5 or 10 years. So if you have a vision, you will know where you are taking your education. You will know where you are taking your agriculture. You will know where you are taking your health. You will know every other thing. But we have no vision. Let us it's another opportunity for Nigeria to sit down and look at the leaders they elect, because the foundation is seriously problem. Nigeria is in real need of leadership that can pilot us out of this particular confusion, because this is confusion where you cannot abide by the agreement you signed a year ago with university lecturers. You cannot abide by the agreement you signed with ASUP a year ago, and you are establishing new universities. Go to all the federal universities that you have in Nigeria. Even in University of Ibadan, you cannot believe they cannot house more than 2,000 students out of about 10,000 student population. So you get an accommodation now, parents will pay through the nose. So it is even wrong to believe that the education is very cheap in Nigeria, even though because the cost of staying in school is much more than the cost of paying tuition fees. That's what people don't know. Go to all the centers of learning, all the federal universities, Nsukka, Abu, Ife, Lagos. Go and see the way students are living. So all these things has to be put into consideration. That's why I'm saying we have politicized almost everything in Nigeria. And anything that you politicize, nothing can come out of it in the Nigerian way. So let us, like you said, let us sit down as a country and say, where are we going?
Right.
And for us to say, where are we going, we must know where we are coming back from. Let us forget about sentiment. Because I believe that we are in serious need of serious and visionary leaders to move us out of this mess.
And that's a fine place to leave it, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your insight so far. Chianwolamwoke Nwakwo and Tunde Abaton. We appreciate your insights on the show. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Babajide Kolade or Titoju via Zoom, but he will be joining us hopefully tomorrow. And that's about it on today's edition of Journalist Hangout.